I was intending to do a quick video to see if the Interapid 312 bezel would fit onto the Interapid 310, whose parts are no longer available. It ended up also being a test of the Harbor Freight $13 watch press and changing the crystals on both.
This is a 310 B1 and this is a 312 B3. Basically what happened is I got this 310 with in a Kennedy toolbox full of machinist tools, and the face was all taken apart. This wasn't even mounted to the body of it, and I got it all back together, and to my surprise it worked properly. The only real issue is that the hand is a little bent. If I would have known that, I would have maybe bought a new one or straightened it better before I put it on. I don't want to take it back off. I've had bad luck with that. I looked up a new crystal for it, and they're not available. Parts for the 310 Interapid with a 1.5" face, they're obsolete. So I later bought this 312. I wondered if the bezel from the 312 would fit the 310, and it turns out this is the 312. It's slightly thicker than the 310. Okay, so the 312 is 0.178, and that's the 312. The 310 is 0.155 thick, but they have the same thread and the same diameter. So this is the 312. Let's put it on the 310. Okay, so that fits. You have to kind of jam something in this hole to keep it from spinning. So I was going to just buy a bezel with a crystal already in it, but when I took this bezel off the 312, the crystal fell out. So instead of buying 2 bezel and crystal assemblies, I decided to desiccant, let's see. And then here's all of our dies. They're labeled, which is kind of nice. 35 to 36, which is, I think, what I need. So the 35 does fit inside of there. Let's probably read the directions. The directions only say the watch press is used to attach 2 parts of a watch case together. This is achieved by pressing the back of the watch case into the front of the watch case. That's it. So I guess we're kind of figuring this out as I go. One up, right?
These are the 36.6 millimeter crystals that the parts website I found for Interapid called for, and they were out of stock on that website, so I just bought these on eBay. And as you're going to see here in this next segment, they weren't the right size. They did not fit, but it took me a little tinkering around to figure that out.
It does not fit inside. I think that I need one that will fit inside. No. Well, for the back I do. For the back I do. So the largest one that will fit through, which is this one. and then this will fit on top, and then this. Does that seem right? I think we need more of a difference between the large and the small. I'm going to go down a few sizes. I'm going to use a small one like this. Just going to use a few drops of oil on it. Alright, so I'm going to try, this is the 28 millimeter. Well, 28 or 27. I'm going to use the 27 millimeter side. Goes on. That's kind of a good thing if it goes on hard. So there's the 28. And then I'm going to use the 35 millimeter side to start. So I should go like this. 35 millimeter. Wow, that's kind of good. That it fits snug like that. Well, here goes nothing.
At this point, I still hadn't noticed the set screw on the side, and that's why it's working a little hard.
Alright, I'm going to change dies. I did not realize that there are flat dies, which is what I need for the bottom. So the smallest flat is 24. Kind of see how there's flat. I don't think they're like, and they're not convex. They're just flat. Yeah, they're just flat. Okay, just flat. So there's a flat set and a concave. Anyways, so let's try this again. Okay, I didn't realize there was a set screw for one. That's why it was going up and down hard. Wasn't in the directions. So I'm going to go up a size. Oops, I'm going to go up a size. Okay. So that's our first failure. Okay. Alrighty. Damn. I think I got the wrong size. Alright.
So I went online looking for instructions on how to size crystals to a bezel, and I got kind of conflicting information. There's a lot of variables with crystal materials and styles of bezels. I ended up going down 1 millimeter to a 35.6 millimeter.
easy.
Having the right size bezel made all the difference. It went on with minimal effort. When I had the wrong size, I was really putting the spurs to it, as you can see, and I was smashing the things. I think I broke 7 of them.
Okay.
It's not the same style crystal that was originally on these. They were a bit flatter, and these are kind of bulbous, but I think it looks pretty nice. I'm really happy with how it turned out. This is the bezel that was on the 310, and you can see that it's pretty dinged up. I wanted to buy a new one for it, but they were, even though the bezels for the 312 are still made, it was out of stock. And I was planning to straighten out all the little dings, but I figured I'd give it a trial run.
Wow.
It took slightly more pressure than the not dinged up bezel, but it went on pretty well, and
Pretty good too.
it seems like it's going to hold on.
Yeah, I don't want to come off. All right.
I'm calling this a success. These look great. And the Harbor Freight watch press for $13, I think, is a great value for somebody that's just going to use it periodically like I did.
Looks really nice.
I hope this helped. Stick with Peckerhead.